Anyway, you've done it. Fast.
You just disappeared.
You're done. See you later.
One down. 7 to go.
Alright, settle down.
Settle down.
No, I got all that on video.
Oh, God.
Stop it and start again.
Not allowed to have fun.
Right, so the way the Buddha talked about dependency is it's like bushels of grain. Now you may have seen pictures when they harvest bushels of grain, they put it into a bunch and then they lean it up often into a tripod. They lean the stalks next to each other, I guess to dry out in the sun or something like that. So he says, you take one bushel away and the other two fall over. If you just lean one against the other, you take one away and the other one will fall over. Well, that's sort of like what dependency is this. Can you close that door, please? That's what dependency is like, is you take one away and the other one just collapses. Okay, now he extrapolated that and he says, right, so we have these 12 links of dependent origination, and well, I guess you can go up and see yourself. So that picture is you'll see it in all temples. This Lord Yama, he is the sort of Buddha of death, or the god of death, if you like, and he's holding a wheel. And that wheel, we can put it here, the wheel of samsara. And samsara means
life and death.
The samsara is the world of illusion, of dukkha, the world of dukkha. Okay? And we live in the world of dukkha, and we want to escape. And here, the Buddha has escaped out of samsara. Okay? And the life is created by these 12 links of dependent origination. Okay? This is how the self is formed. And the self can be formed in one, according to Buddhism, one of 6 realms. The God realm, this is the Deva realm, which is demigods. These are human realms. And then there's the hungry ghost realm. And then there's the animal realm, so animals live in a different realm, but they're here. And then there's the hell realms as well. So it's a bit like Christianity, heaven and hell, but they have 6 realms and we just have the 3, I guess. Hell, here and up. And what he says is that you are in a cycle of rebirth. So you go round and round. Sometimes you get better and better and better and better, and then you get worse and worse and worse and worse. So you can go from a God realm to a human realm, down to a hell realm, up to an animal realm, over to a hungry ghost realm. Depending on your karma, each time you're born, you can be born in a different realm.
But you can get out, can't you?
But you can get out through understanding insight.
Yeah.
Once you understand impermanence, none of this affects you anymore. So this is the realm of samsara. So this is a Buddhist thing, and some people would say, well, you can be in hell right here.
Yeah, hell on earth. Yeah.
Or you can be a hungry ghost right here. And apparently the devas, the demigods, they're called asuras, and they're fighting each other. So these are the demigods. But they don't ever feel pain or problems. They're just continuously fighting each other. And that reminds me of these corporate warriors in business, which they live in luxury, but they spend their life in business fighting each other.
Yeah.
So it's really quite, I can see that happening. We can see it right now. People are in these, physically, they've got everything catered for, but, their selves are still experiencing dukkha because they're just fighting with each other. And so, whereas hell realm, we know, what is it? Gaza Strip is pretty much a hell realm right now.
Yeah.
You know, you really want to be there.
Yeah, I was going to say heads of countries. You know.
Yeah. No, they're just fighting.
Just fighting.
Anyway, so we go up and down, and it's all fed by the three hindrances, if you like, of ignorance, which spawns craving, and craving manifests as attachment and aversion. So, or greed or attachment, however it is. Ignorance, greed, aversion. Ignorance, greed, aversion. And these are all kind of one aspects of another, so that they actually, you know, the chicken represents greed, and it's biting the snake, which represents aversion. No, actually, and then there's a pig. And the pig one of them is ignorance, and the snake is aversion, and I can't remember whether the pig is greed or the chook is greed. Anyway, it doesn't really matter.
What's that whole
Could be
thing
busyness.
called?
Hmm?
What's that whole thing called?
Well, a lot of people call it the wheel of samsara,
Yeah. Wheel of life.
or wheel of life. All right, but what we are really interested in is these 12 links of dependent origination around the outside. And so it starts off with ignorance. We believe in the self. Okay, so ignorance is the start of it all. So not understanding the reality, not understanding, you know, the emptiness of all phenomena is the problem. Now, from ignorance comes sankharas, which I've got here as volitional formations. So it's like long and short are volitional formations. We believe in long and short. We have a concept of what long and short is. We also have a concept of self and other. Okay, well, we have these potential. And out of that comes consciousness. Okay, so we because we see long and short and self and other, we know, we believe that this self is conscious. Okay, and that comes, they say, name and form, which is mind and body, or what here it says material and mental formations. So there's the body, and then there's the mind. You say, well, consciousness has to be something, so it's the mind, and then it has to reside somewhere, so that's the body. All right, and then from the body comes the six senses. So the body has the ability to have six senses. All right. So when we say six senses, we've got the normal five, but in Buddhism they say the mind is another sense. So if you close your eyes and close your ears, you can still picture something, and that is they call that a perception. We perceive our mind things. Anyway, six senses. So they just treat the mind as just another perception. Now, because we have six senses, we have contact. So I can feel, and I see. Therefore, I make contact with reality as it is. So from the six senses comes reality. Comes contact. Now, because of contact, there is Vedana, which we've talked about, which is feeling. So this feels smooth and lovely. It feels nice. But if I was to feel sandpaper, it would feel rough and smooth. And so we have, and of course from feeling, we have Sukha Vedana and Dukkha Vedana. We have good feelings and bad feelings. Now, because we have good feelings and bad feelings, because we have Vedana, that is the cause. So all of these, this causes that, causes that, causes that, causes that. So being able to feel the difference between good and bad causes craving. Causes craving. So this is pretty key. All right. Which is called tanha. Yeah? These all have Sanskrit or Pali words. So tanha, which is actually translated as thirst. So we have like they use the same word for thirst as we also crave, sugar, and we crave, friends and alcohol, whatever. And from craving comes clinging. what we crave, we cling to and we contract around. Clinging, we contract, and mind clings to that. And because of clinging, we cling, and in this case we cling to a self, okay? And because of that, out of that comes becoming. So becoming, okay? And from becoming comes birth, jati. And because we are born, we automatically suffer dukkha, which is old age, sickness and death. Old age, sickness and death. So all dukkha comes from being born. And because we suffer dukkha, and we know that and because we have craving, that causes more ignorance. Okay? And because we have more ignorance, then the whole formation starts again and we get reborn. So this wheel of dependent origination can be thought of as in many, many ways. It can be thought of as lifetime to lifetime. So in the longest extent, they have it in 3 lifetimes. So ignorance creates formation, which creates volitional formation creates consciousness, which creates name and form. So there's the first life, okay? Because we've got name and form. Now, because we have life, we have, feeling, craving, clinging, becoming, and birth. Therefore, we have the second life. And then we have, because we're born, we have old age, sickness, and death. Okay, so that's the next life, and then it goes again. But I want to take it more. It's much more useful if you see this in real time, happening in real time. And so we can take an example of what's an example of we missed the train, okay? We missed the train to an important meeting. So we're driving to work and we missed the train to work, and that missing the train is a volitional formation. Out of ignorance, there is no such thing as train, and there's no problem with missing it because it's just as it is. But we create this idea that we've missed the train. Okay, and so there's a consciousness of me missing the train, and we feel it. We have a mental conception, and our body, has the chemicals. Oh, we've missed it, and So we develop a kind of a mental image of ourselves missing the train. Okay? And then we feel that, we feel the dukkha of that, and that creates craving for having not missed the train. So we think of all the things that we're now going to miss out on, and we set up aversion. I wish, which is a form of craving. Oh, I wish I hadn't missed the train. Okay, and then we give birth to a self that has missed the train. We give birth to conceptually a self that has missed the train, and it's because of that we suffer. Yeah, that we suffer for that. Let's say we have a pain. Okay, if we have a pain, then first of all, we have a volitional formation already that pain is not good, and feeling and happy and not pain, pleasure is good. So we have that as already a consciousness, right? We can only feel pain because we have the 6 senses. We have the kinesthetic sense. We feel the pain. A pin has poked us or whatever. So we have Vedana, dukkha Vedana, and then because of our volitional formation, we crave that we have, we have aversion. We crave pleasant feeling. of that. And we cling to the idea that, oh, this shouldn't have happened. I shouldn't have got a pin in my palm. And therefore, then there's the becoming of the whole birth of this idea of, I shouldn't have this pain and I wish it would go away and it's not fair. So, aging and death. Or if you've missed out, if all your friends have had something that you haven't got, they've all gone on a holiday and you haven't, you create a consciousness of it, and then you set up craving, and then you have this consciousness as, poor me, I didn't get to go on the holiday. And that kind of self-image of yourself just keeps the dukkha going, okay? And so it's good to, I probably should have got some more other explanations which are a little bit more clear, but this is this dependent origination. Now, one thing depends on the other, depends on the other, depends on the other, depends on the other, depends on the other. So the Buddha said, all you need to do is just take one link out and they'll all fall like dominoes. And there won't be any samsara anymore. Okay? All you need to do is just hook out one link. But we already have a consciousness, so that's already there. So that's really hard to take out. We also already have 6 senses. So that's already there. It's a given. It's just dependent on we've got no control over that. So that's already there. We are going to be in contact with things which are unpleasant. So that's already there. Okay? So he said the key is that the link between feeling, which is Vedana, and interesting sound.
That turned itself on.
It was just the way the gas was coming out. Sometimes if there's a little blockage, is it the gas?
Yeah.
Change it on to a different burner, or just touch the hot plate, and it'll sometimes rectify. I just give it a bang, and it comes out. Yeah. Give it a bang now. Not with your hand. No, the actual burner with a metal, something metal. Anyway. So the key is between Vedana, which is feeling, and Tanha, which is craving. Can I do it? We need Trudy's good at these things. Trudy just seems to touch it.
She's got the magic touch.
She's got a magic touch.
This happened the other day. You know how I said to you I could hear
It's
it?
because the gas is not
Shiny.
coming out properly.
Yeah.
If the only issue I have is that the stove and the oven are doing good.
They're doing good. Yeah. Or just lift it up and put it back on again or something.
Oh, that's saying that's come off.
Oh, okay.
Maybe that's what you.
Oh, Trudy.
You've broken it.
Just adjust it
There
again.
it is. There it is. It's on. Yeah. All good.
Oh, that's better.
So,
All that camping.
yeah, so the key is to catch it between realize at the time of feeling, not to crave it. Now, one of the ways which here Ajahn Buddhadasa, which is when I was a Thai monk, I studied under Santikaro, who was Ajahn Buddhadasa's student, who was considered very, very awakened and very, very wise, a very, very, very wise person, and he had a lovely way of talking. And he's like, the problem is, he says, what we've got to learn is to see the problems with Sukha Vedana and see the benefits of Dukkha Vedana. So you've actually got to sort of adjust your view that pain and horrible things have some good qualities. And you've got to realise that it's not all benefit feeling good. Okay? So that you can bring some equanimity in and become equanimous, that you don't really care. Good food, bad food, doesn't matter. You know, you've got a bit of a pain, it's not affecting you, doesn't matter. In fact, it's good. Not only are you not only equanimity, well, you want equanimity, but to do so, you try to reverse it the other way. So you deliberately try to find some good things in, well, I've got this pain, but actually it's good. It's keeping me awake. Because it's hard to go to sleep when you've got a massive pain in your knee. And when Sukha Vedana comes along, you try to see, well, it's not all it's cracked up to be. You know, this is going to, for a start, it's going to create more craving because I'm going to desire it, and it's going to go. And it's also taking away my peace. When I'm so happy, it feels good, but when I'm not happy, I'm not actually peaceful. And peacefulness is actually even better than happiness sometimes. But otherwise, just watch it. Just watch the craving. And one thing I think I've convinced you of is craving is the cause of your dukkha. So whenever you feel something, the first thing to watch out for is there any craving occurring? Is there any craving? Because if there is, it's going to make me feel bad. Okay? So remember the equation. Craving equals selfing. Selfing equals fabrication. Fabrication equals dukkha. These are all the same thing. You know what I mean? They're all equal to each other. Dukkha, craving, selfing, and fabrication are all interchangeable. They're all dependent on each other. So there's a twofold teaching in dependent origination. First of all, there's several takeaways from dependent origination. The first of all is the self is an artificial concept based on these 12 links. It comes about through causes and conditions. There's nothing magical about the self. It is just like a cup came into being because of causes and conditions. There are certain causes and conditions. So there's nothing magical about a cup, it just comes into being. What's the same with the self? It just comes into being. Second is, you take one cause away and the whole thing won't...
And you've arrived.
It's a bit like telling me now.
You've arrived like the Buddha. One cause, you've
It's
arrived.
a sign.
It's a sign.
Yeah, it is. It's a message.
That is a sign.
It is. What's
So-
arrived? You've arrived.
I don't know. It's
You've arrived.
Siri's arrived.
No,
Siri-
no. What's the message? I don't care about Siri.
No, the message is you take one link out, you've arrived.
Denise's
No.
past, Kathy's past. Right.
Maybe you've got enlightenment.
Six more to go.
I'll hang around here.
You've
I'll hang
arrived.
around here.
You've arrived at enlightenment.
It's working
Not the
its
first.
way, yeah.
So,
The first of the four pillars.
yeah. So,
I'm jealous.
That's a
Craving.
Well, you're not even going to be able to speak in this group.
Can't even move.
good on you. Have you been catching people when they're selfing? Oh, they're selfing. Turning I am to am I.
Yeah.
All right. So So the first thing is that the self, you can use dependent origination to see that the self is empty. Second of all, you can also use it to see how dukkha arises. And having seen how dukkha arises, realize that that's empty as well. But it gives you a practical also strategy to get rid of dukkha, which is catch it at the level of Vedana, maybe even before. It's not impossible to catch it at other links in the chain, but probably the most common or the most useful, the easiest one is to catch it at Vedana when craving arises. Because it's the craving which actually causes the dukkha, not necessarily the ignorance, contact, body, mind, feelings. Yes, they are relative causes that have to be there. They're conditions which have to be there before craving can arise. And you take one of those away and the craving doesn't arise. But they themselves are not the cause of dukkha. It's the craving which is the key. So just catch that when it arises, and we can reduce the suffering. So yeah, that's 3. What else can you learn from this? Yeah, I think this is just a really good teaching and format to sort of just see how not only like this can be seen as the physical self, but it can be seen as the kind of idea of self that comes, this teaching. It's more useful to kind of see not as a literal teaching about how we came to be, which is what a lot of people do it, but more as a metaphorical teaching for how the idea of self arises. All right. Yeah, that's it. I mean, dependent arising, you can study this. People do, 3-6 month studies just on this one topic. There's whole books like this on dependent origination. So if this appeals to you, you can study it more. There's lots of talks and books and stuff on dependent origination that go into much more detail. The jhana teacher, what's his name? Lee Brasingham has written a book. He's an American, and he actually translates dukkha as a bummer, I think. Life is a bit of a bummer. That's how he translates dukkha. So he's kind of a bit Americanized. But he has a book on dependent origination, which is quite good. But anyway, so does Buddhadasa and many others. But hopefully that's useful, and the stuff on dependency I think you guys liked. So now we're going to do walking meditation. What's the time?
25 to 12.
11
Is that right?
Yeah, we're well over. So walking meditation. So we're going to go out on walking meditation, and one thing we can do is to practice the emptiness of walking. Okay? So basically everything we can do, we can practice the emptiness of it. Now, we know conceptually when we're walking, as opposed to standing still and running, right? You know what walking is, okay? But let's now look to see whether walking is real. So first of all, you'll notice that walking by itself doesn't exist. It's dependent on so many things. It's dependent on a body. You have to have a body to be able to walk. It's also dependent on gravity. You can't walk without gravity, and you can't walk with something to walk on the earth. Yeah? So it's also dependent on time. If time didn't exist, then how could you walk if there was no such thing as time? It's also dependent on intention. The body would not walk unless there was an intention to walk. So it's already dependent on so many things. So you can see, and each one of those things is dependent on other things. So walking by itself doesn't really exist. So that's one way to see that there's no such thing as walking, because it's dependent. Another way, interesting way, is to say, if walking existed, then there would be a time when walking started and a time when walking stopped, wouldn't there? But if you stand still, when does walking start? Does it start when you start lifting your foot off the ground? Is that where? But you know, it obviously doesn't, because you could put your foot up and then put it back down again, and that's not walking, is it? You know. So does walking start when you have the first forward motion? But you could bring your foot back and put it back down again, so that's not walking either. So is it when you put your foot down? Or is that walking? When does walking start? So think to yourself as you're walking, I think I know what walking is, and yet I can't find it. I can't find the start of it. I can't find it separate from what it's dependent on. You know, when does walking change to running? Is there a change between walking and running? You know, faster, 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 faster. At some point you're running, but where is that? So you can't find an end to walking either. And so another one is this one's really cool. The gone over. So the gone over ground doesn't exist anymore because you've already gone over it. So that's not walking. Okay? And the yet to be gone over ground, you've not gone over that yet because you're not there yet. Okay? And so to be walking, you have to be going over ground, because that's what walking is, moving over ground. But where is that ground that you're going over? Because, you know, ground either falls in ground that you've already gone over or ground that you're yet to go over. So there's no inherently existing point because it's too infinitesimally small to be ground that you're actually going over. And ground which has no length in it isn't really ground. You're not going over it because there's no length to be there. So there is no going over ground. It's either gone over or it's yet to be gone over. So therefore, there's no existence of ground that's being going over. And if that doesn't exist, then therefore walking cannot exist. So that's another way to think about how walking is not existent, because you're not walking over anything. And then that's closely related to time, which is past and future. The past hasn't arrived yet. No, the past is gone and the future hasn't arrived yet. And so therefore there's no time, therefore there can be no walking. Another way you can think of it is, what part of the body is walking? You know, are your shoulders walking? You know, because you can walk with your shoulders still. So they're not really walking. You know, is it just your feet walking? Well, they're moving, but it's more than just your feet, because if you just took your feet, you wouldn't say they're walking. So which part of the body is walking? Because some part is walking independent of body. Well, no, it can't be, because the body has to be walking, and yet which part of the body? So it's a bit like the sevenfold reasoning. Okay? So think about these things just to do with walking, and then when you get some sort of feeling like, yeah, they're just, I can't find walking anywhere, then you can sort of apply it to everything. Well, everything is the same. All doing is the same. Yeah? Everything everyone is doing is the same. So therefore it's all empty. So you try and sort of, you pick one thing and you try to see the emptiness of that, and then when you get a glimpse of the emptiness of that, you then sort of just generalize it. Actually, that's the same as everything in the world. Also notice when you may want to, this is optional, but you may want to notice if a feeling of emptiness comes to you, whether that is more sukha or more dukkha. Does it feel expansive? Does it feel, wow, that's amazing, or openness, or whatever? So notice whether an insight into the emptiness of walking has an effect on how expansive you feel. Does that make sense? The walking meditation? So we're going out to try to discover the emptiness of walking. Dinner, what time will dinner be ready, Tash?
Lunch.
Lunch, sorry. Actually, some people call it dinner.
Are we 12:30?
12:30? So lunch will be ready at 12:30, so you've got an hour almost. You don't have to go out that long, but go out for as long as
It's
you want.
11:45 now.
Oh,
Yeah.
half an hour, 3/4 of an hour.